This audio is for educational purposes only. I hope this will add light to your journey. Please share this audio to your loved ones, family and friends. Thank you.
Lies We Tell Ourselves, by John Frederickson. Preface. Life is hard, but psychological suffering can be unbearable. To find a way to bear it, we may seek a therapist. A good therapist has an innate wisdom born from the pain of life, a wisdom that can be earned no other way. But once we find such a person, how do we work together to stop our suffering? To answer this question, we must understand why we suffer and how we return to health. We become ill because of the lies we swallowed and the lies we tell ourselves. To avoid pain, perhaps we swallowed a lie that we are bad, rather than recognize that a person wronged us. We might tell ourselves a lie, such as, things will get better, rather than face a crumbling marriage. We become well by facing the truths of our inner life and outer life. Together, all of us tell ourselves lies to avoid pain. It's human. The problem, we don't see the ways we fool ourselves. That's why we seek a therapist to help us face what we avoid. This book can help you see not only the falsehoods that cause our suffering, but how to face the truth to become free. It will help you see what therapy looks like when it leads to change. Therapy is not merely a chat, a checklist review, or the solving of you as a crossword puzzle. Therapy is a relationship between two people devoted to facing the deepest truths of our lives so we can be healed. We will explore the lies that make us ill so we can embrace the truth that makes us well. In this era of managed care, we are in danger of losing sight of the soul of therapy. Who are we? Why do we suffer? What are we seeking? This book will try to answer these questions, not through definitions, but through vignettes that show how facing what we avoid leads to genuine change. In these vignettes, all identifying information has either been deleted or changed to protect the confidentiality of the people involved. These stories are used to show the truths we all struggle to face, and the universal ways we avoid those truths. In a sense, these stories about other people are about us. All of us struggle to face the truth. Many of the people presented here have experienced such horrendous pain that you may find their words hard to read. Your task will be to empathize with their pain and to recognize your pain through theirs. And through these stories, you will see how the seemingly obvious cause for our pain is usually not the actual cause of our suffering. We suffer because we run from life, death, and the teachings they offer. We become healed when we embrace our inner life, our loved ones, and life itself is the mystery of you knowable. No, but you are embraceable. This book will show how to embrace the truth of you. Introduction. A woman sat down in my office, sighed, and said, I don't know what to do about my marriage. My husband keeps having affairs. We've been in couples therapy, but it hasn't done any good. He feels guilty, or at least, that's what he says. But every time he promises to be faithful, he gets involved with another woman. I should leave, but it's easier to stay in the marriage than to divorce. He promises to be faithful, but then gets involved with other women. I replied, yes. Would it be fair to say that you stay with the man who promises and try to forget the man who has affairs? But I can't forget. You can't forget the facts. But it sounds like you have been marrying his promises. That's harsh. It's not my intent to be harsh. Have your husband's affairs been harsh to your wish for faithfulness? Yes. And if you believe his words instead of his deeds, will believing his words be hard on you? I see what you mean. If I see you hurting yourself, ignoring a behavior you need to see, do I have your permission to point that out so we can bring your suffering to an end? When you put it that way, It makes sense. But we don't sleep together anymore. I understand. You don't sleep with him anymore. But since you are still with him. I paused. Is it possible? You are living with his lies. Her eyes filled with tears. How do I leave him? You don't need to. The faithful husband already left. Would you like me to help you? Stop waiting for him to come back. This woman hoped her faith would make her husband faithful. But it didn't. Why did she lie to herself? Why do all of us lie to ourselves? It's easier to embrace our wish than what is here. As the woman's therapist, I wouldn't find out in this session why she embraced her husband's lies. And I might not find out why in the next session either. Since meanings unfold over time, no matter how much we learn about someone, that person will always be a mystery. So, if a person is a mystery, psychotherapy is a mystery, meeting a mystery, why do we go to therapists? With the decline of traditional religions, we increasingly turn to healers to get help, end our suffering, and find meaning in life. Therapy, for many, has become a secular confessional. While wanting to change internally, we ask others to help us avoid change by validating us, fixing us, or advising us on how to change others. Therapists, drawn by a calling to heal, may correct our logic, listen while we say what comes to mind, or offer insights. But while each of these is an essential ingredient in therapy, none by itself is therapy. A therapeutic relationship cannot be merely a method, a technique, or an act done to us. To heal, we must be devoted to discovering the truths we avoid, and we avoid them through the lies we tell each other and ourselves. We don't need advice, we need to delve underneath the lies to find what we have been looking for. We don't need to be fixed. We may think we need to fix ourselves, but often we are trying to fix our fantasies instead. The broken illusions, shattered self-images, and distorted ideas, creating our suffering. Only by letting go of the false can we experience the real. Then we can accept ourselves and rediscover the vitality we lost through our lies. A wise therapist does not simply talk about our thinking. Therapy is not a head-to-head relationship. A wise therapist does not sit silently while we prattle on, engage in chit-chat, or say what comes to mind. No matter what, if saying what came to mind mended people, saloons would long ago have healed humanity. A wise therapist does not rely on insight alone, for an insight from the head will not heal the pain in our hearts. How does healing happen? The therapist invites us to experience who we are under the words, the excuses, and the explanations. We embrace our inner life, our urges, thoughts, and feelings, and the outer world, hidden from us by the lies we have believed about others and ourselves. And by facing what we have been hiding from, we go through the inner challenge, known as healing. If knowledge is the food of the soul, as Plato claimed, then healing happens when we bear what we avoid. So knowledge can arise. Pills, shots, and electroshock are not substitutes for the living relationship that therapy can be. This book shows how facing what we avoid can heal us. The examples drawn from my practice present people struggling with the problems everyone has, using the excuses everyone uses, and demonstrate how, together with the therapist, people can bear the unbearable, to face what they formerly feared. Through a series of vignettes, we will explore this encounter between two people, where a patient heals through a heart-to-heart meeting with a therapist. Although patients may ask for advice and repeat cliches, they long for who they are. Buried beneath their suffering, what is the knowledge they seek? These days, when the concept of truth is often discarded, why do people keep seeking the truth? In this embrace, known as psychotherapy,